What's up YouTube, it's TF Collector, and today I'll be reviewing the Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class ELITA-1 from Transformers 1. And before we take a look at the figure herself, we're going to take a look at the packaging that she does come in. You can see on the front, Transformers Studio Series, Transformers 1, ELITA-1, Hasbro. You have nice pictures of her there. She transforms in 25 steps. On this side, you have a picture of ELITA-1. Her name is ELITA-1, Studio Series, Transformers 1. On this side, you have the rest of that picture. Autobot logo, Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class. On the back of the packaging, a nice screen grab of ELITA-1 there from the movie. That is Transformers 1, ELITA-1. ELITA-1 is a team leader who gets the job done no matter the cost. You have nice pictures here of ELITA-1. Once again, 25 steps, more than meets the eye. Barcode Hasbro on the bottom, nothing on the top. Takara Tomy and Transformers 1 ELITA-1. And one last thing to talk about before we take a look at the figure herself is, of course, the instruction manual. You have a nice picture of ELITA there. Transformers Studio Series, Transformers 1, ELITA-1, 8 and up on the back, Takara and Hasbro. And moving to the figure herself, here is ELITA-1 as she appeared in Transformers 1. And she is this Cybertronian bike-looking thing, but coming in close on the details, you can see nice purple pinkish color used throughout. More of a pink, kind of leans into both though. But as you can see, nice silver all throughout. Nice little bit of blue there. The wheels do of course spin, front and the back too. Those are two separate wheels back there, but down the side, just that pink coloring with a little bit of black there. Same thing down this side on the bottom. You do kind of have her head and her feet hanging out there, but not too bad. On the back, you have this little port we'll talk about again here in a second. But overall, I think they did a pretty good job recreating what we see in the movie. And as far as accessories go, she does come with two. She comes with this jetpack here, which can be used for all four of the main bots from Transformers 1. And I will show that off when we get to robot mode later. But nice little jetpack there. And she also comes with the blaster that they all use throughout the movie. A little different than the one that came with Bumblebee, but as you can see, gray with a little bit of black, and both of these do store in the alt mode. The jetpack is actually an integral part of her alt mode. I think they act like it's supposed to be there all the time, but basically it just plugs into that little post right there. So just kind of have to bring it up and get your finger under there so that you can hold it steady and just tab that right on, and you can see it kind of gives her some boosters going on back there. And if you want to store this piece, you do have a tab right there that will just go into that little place right there. So just notch that on, and there you go. There is your storage. Elegant, not elegant. And zooming through some quick alt mode comparisons. First, we will go through the Transformers 1 figures from Studio Series so far. Here she is with Studio Series 112 Deluxe Optimus, so you can see how they look together. Here she is with Studio Series B127 or Bumblebee, so you can see how those two look together. Here she is with Studio Series 114 Deluxe Megatron, so you can see how she looks with the Megs. Here she is with Studio Series Voyager Class Sentinel Prime, so you can see how they look together. You can see, compared to a Voyager, she is quite smaller, but that is, of course, acceptable because they are different size classes. And last but not least, one I thought I'd throw in here. Here she is with Studio Series, I think, 52, one of three that came in that pack, Bayverse ELITA-1. So you can just see the difference in what these two franchises went for. But I do personally prefer, of course, the much cooler and much more character-built ELITA-1 to this ELITA-1 that lasted about 30 seconds in the movie, but both of these figures do look pretty cool in their alt modes. And I think that's all I have to say about the alt mode. As I've said, it does look pretty cool. I do appreciate it, but we are going to go ahead and transform her into robot mode. Now, the transformation is a little fiddly at times. It's really my gripe with this figure and some loose pieces when we get into robot mode. But before we start, I did go ahead and remove that jetpack because that is a very secure connection and I didn't want to be fooling with it on camera. So go ahead and remove that if you haven't already and we will get started. So the first thing thing we're going to do is come under here, and you can see these are kind of notched in here. You just want to unnotch those kind of and get those out of the way. And then what you want to do is untab this whole section and bring it up, and this will basically all just fold in on top of each other. Fold that piece in, fold that piece in, and leave that like that for now. And now what we will do is just come here and untab the arms from the side of the leg and bring them out. You can see slot and tab on each side. Of course, do the same thing on the other side. Now what we can do is rock forward here a little at her knee joints so we don't hit this panel back here, and we can kind of get these legs down and out of the way, and then we can go ahead and split them down the middle, and we can go ahead and transform the legs. So the first thing you're going to want to do is rock down at this double hinge right there, so you extend her leg out. Do the same thing on this side, rock that piece out, and now what we need to do is come here and bring her foot out, and this piece will also go back. I don't know if you can really see it, but it is on a hinge right there. You want that back. And then you can bring the foot down like so. Do the same thing on the other side. Bring this piece back. Bring the foot down like so. And now what we can do is come here and flip these little knee caps out. Do the same thing on this side, of course. If I can get my nail in there. Come on, come on. There we go. And then just flip these pieces around, and they will go right over that section. You can see there is a groove cut out for the wheel. Do the same thing on the other side there. Just rotate that around. Straighten her legs out. Come under here. Flip out her little heel spurs. They do give you a little place there to get your nail in there, so you can flip those out pretty easily, which is, of course, appreciated. And there you go. There you have ELITA-1's legs all done. So, of course, we are now going to move up just a tad bit so you can kind of see a little more of what I'm doing. The first thing we're going to want to do is you do have to rotate these pieces around, and you want to find where the hinge is. And then what you want to do is push this piece in. I have went the wrong way. It does take a little fooling, but you can see this piece will basically undo itself and come in. Make sure you have this back panel untabbed. There are little tabs and slots that go in back there. You want that untabbed so that you can kind of stretch these pieces out enough to get that flipped around. Do the same thing on this side. Undo that and flip that in there. Come on, go in. There we go. And then what we can do is bring these pieces back together, and this will have the same locking point. Those two tabs there will go into those two slots there. Just lock that back in like so. And actually, I lied. Before you do that, you want to make sure you push that little piece in like so. So make sure you do that before you lock that section back in. Lock, please, lock. Make sure you lock that in like so. And now what we're going to do is bring her head down, and you see there are these little tabs here on the sides. They will just rest in these bottom little slots here on both sides. So just bring that up. You can kind of see how that's resting on each side. And then you can rotate the head 180, and there you have her torso done. And to finish off the arms, very simple little bit of transformation here. You just want to flip these pieces around until they thoop into place. Same thing on the other side. Flip that around, thoop it into place. Make sure you straighten her all out, and then come back here, and these two slots will go into these two tabs. So just bring that up, tab that in, and once you get everything nice and straightened out, there you have ELITA-1 in her robot mode. And once you get through the kind of fiddly but also not that bad transformation, you do get a really cool looking robot mode. But coming in close here so we can take a closer look at the details, you can see the face sculpt is absolutely beautiful. You have some silver up there, some black and blue for the eyes. Silver on the faceplate looks absolutely gorgeous. Coming down the body, you have some of that pink going on through there, and some more silver just coming in the body, more pink all around. They even painted her little toes there. Looks very nice. Some black here on the sides, a little bit of silver there that carried over from the alt mode. Her backpack is there, but it's not really that bad. I don't complain about it personally. Overall, I am very happy with the way the robot mode turned out as far as looks go. And when it comes to articulation, you can move her around quite well. She is mostly a ball-jointed figure for some reason, but the head is on a ball joint, so you can wiggle it around. You can get a full 360 out of it. You can get her to look up some and down a lot. The arms are on ball joints, can do full 360s. Move in and out until you hit that shoulder piece. The elbows are also on ball joints. You get a rotation there and also over 90 degrees of bend there. Nothing at the wrist, unfortunately. The waist is on a rotating joint. The legs are on ball joints. Can kick forward that far, back that far, outward. Cannot do the full split. You do get thigh rotation, even though it might pop your leg off because it is a mushroom peg right there. I'm not sure if you can see it, and it's super tight, but it's there. Trust me, it's there if you want to use it, but I'm not going to break my figure trying to do it. You have a double jointed knee. If you want to take advantage of it, you can get a complete kick out of her there, which is very nice. Lovely to see double jointed knees in figures. The foot can pivot up and a little bit down on a ball joint. It can rotate and it can have a little bit of ankle tilting. So while everything is on a ball joint, it does feel pretty sturdy overall, and it does give you an awesome opportunity to have lots of articulation. And if we bring her accessories back in, they can, of course, be used here in all robot, not alt mode. You have these two slots here, and you use those middle two tabs there. And now this is not a very good connection on mine. I'm not sure why, but mine really does not like to hold the jetpack. But as you can see, you can get the jetpack tabbed on back there. Now it does make her a little back heavy, but her legs can hold her. And for the gun, just bring that down, and it of course will slot into the hand like a gun should do. And there you go. You can have your ELITA-1 all weaponized. And as I previously mentioned, ELITA-1's little jetpack here is compatible with all of your other TF1 Big 4. So you can bring in Megatron, and you see he's got a little slot there for that tab there, and that can just tab on right there. And you can have Mega Backpack, or if you don't want to have Mega Backpack, you can bring in Bumblebee, and you see he has the same tabs as ELITA-1, so those will just use the same two there, and same slots rather. And you can have a Bumble jetpack, but if you don't want to have a Bumble jetpack, you can bring in Optimus Prime, and you see he has some wider slots, so you got to use, whoa, as I dropped that, you have to use these wider tabs here for those, but you just line that up, tab it in, 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 and you can have a Jetpack Prime. And for some quick robot mode comparisons, first here is ELITA-1 with her leader, Transformers Studio Series 112 Optimus Prime, so you can see how those two look together. Here she is with Studio Series 114, Deluxe Class Megatron. I think I said Deluxe Class for Prime. If I said something else, he is a Deluxe Class too. I'm not sure what I said. Here she is with Studio Series Deluxe Bumblebee, so you can see how those two look together. Here she is with Studio Series Voyager Sentinel Prime, so you can see how those two scale together, and he doesn't want to stand, so I'm going to keep my finger there, but you can see how those two look together. And last but not least, here she is with Bayverse ELITA-1, and as much as I love the Bayverse, yes, this is a much better ELITA-1, and psych, I lied, that wasn't last. She is with a CG picture of herself, how she appears in Transformers 1, and as you can see, they did a pretty great job with this robot mode. So that is my review for the Transformers Studios Series Deluxe Class ELITA-1 from Transformers 1. And overall, I must say I am pretty pleased with the way this figure turned out. I thought she looked really good in the early promotional images, and she is pretty good here in hand. My only gripes with the figure are the transformation. I feel like parts of it are a little fiddlier than I like. While I also complimented the ball joints earlier because they give her a lot of articulation, and they are pretty sturdy for ball joints, I personally prefer just normal hinges. I just think they feel better. I think they make the figure feel better. So maybe a little less ball joints in the future. The little panels on her arms are not movie accurate, obviously. I wish they could have found a way to tuck those away a little better. But other than that, I think it's really cool the way the wheels fold up into her chest, and I think the little piece right there with the chest holding the head, I think both of those pieces look absolutely amazing. They painted those really well and sculpted them really well. Overall, I think both modes look awesome. It's just the transformation that kind of is a little fiddly for me, which is why I'm not going to be able to give her a completely perfect review or even close. Obviously, you've got to be on another level to get a perfect review, but she is a pretty solid figure, and without the fiddle factor would certainly be in a 9 or 9.5 even, because I love the way she looks, but because of the way the figure feels, not completely sturdy, and just some little gripes I have here and there, I am going to give ELITA-1 a 7.5 out of 10. I definitely don't think she is a bad figure, and on this shelf, she will look absolutely awesome because her robot mode, aside from the little arm panels there, is very accurate and looks super cool. So that is my review for ELITA-1. Don't forget, never sacrifice the things you love for the approval of others. We will be going back to our journey through the Studio series after this video because I have no more new figures to review. I think we are on Long Haul, so that should be next. So I'll see you with him soon, and until then, roll out. Peace.